tied to a higher chance of dropping out of school, a higher likelihood of ending up engaging in criminal activity, and lower lifetime earnings. And so nearly 90% of the students who fail to earn a high school diploma were struggling with reading by grade 3. And so our view in Florida is this early literacy is absolutely critical. You really spend those early years up until about 3rd grade learning how to read. And then after 3rd grade, you really read in order to learn as more things are presented to yourself in your education, both within the classroom and then just in life generally. And so we believe that if we get everyone up to speed by 3rd grade, we are going to be in really, really good shape as these kids get older and as they graduate elementary, middle school, and high school and go beyond. And so I think nobody recognized this more than the Speaker of the House, Chris Sprowls. And so we did so much great stuff last legislative session that some of the things we do kind of gets lost in the shuffle. And I think this HB 3, which was really one of the Speaker's priority, has not gotten the attention that it deserved. But basically, it created a program called the New Worlds Reading Initiative, and it delivers free books to students in grades K through 5 who are reading below grade level. We supported the program with $177 million to make sure we reached every student who needed that support. And so this was a really significant initiative of the Speaker's. We were happy to sign it into law over the summer. And today, we're even happier to announce that more than 81,000 students are now enrolled in the program and are receiving a new hard copy book each month. And so the best part of this is that these are high-quality, age-appropriate books. This is something that the Commissioner and the Department of Education selected for the program. And with each book, parents are also receiving training materials to help engage the whole family in reading. And we know that book delivery programs like this are successful because they engage parents in the process, which helps improve the child's reading and their overall success in school. So we're happy to be able to make this announcement today. We think it's going to make a real difference, and credit to the Speaker for really focusing on. We've done so much in education, and a lot of it is very, very important. I mean, all of it's important, but this is something that will really bear fruit for years and years to come. We're excited about the progress we've made under Richard Corcoran's leadership. You know, we got rid of Common Core. We have best standards. We're working on eliminating the FSA and moving to a more appropriate progress monitoring system. We've invested record amounts of funding in our K through 12 schools. If we do what we did in my budget in this legislative session, we will have increased funding by almost $600 per student since I took office, and that would be the highest level in Florida history. We've also been able to increase minimum salaries for public school teachers by over $6,000 over the last 2 years, and last year is budget for paid out in 2021. We got every principal and every school teacher in Florida a $1,000 bonus, and we're going to do it again. We're going to continue to increase the teacher salaries, and we're going to continue to support bonuses for our principals and teachers. And of course, we're very proud that we had schools open in 2020 and 2021. You look around the country today, you have a lot of schools that are closed in some of these parts of the country. That is not helping these students. They need to be in school. Parents need them in school, and that's made a huge, huge difference, I think, in the well-being of our kids in Florida. And I really worry about how some of the kids in some of these other parts of the country, you know, are going to fare 3-4 years down the road, having been effectively locked out of school for a year in some parts of the country. That is not healthy. We stood up for our kids and our parents, and the results have been great. If you look at Florida, the latest Education Week Quality Counts ratings, we're ranked number 3 in the country for K through 12 achievement. And so at the end of the day, you know, you want to be able to have high standards, you want to be able to have students achieve, and we're able to do that. We've got a lot more to do, but we're really proud of the accomplishments. I think you go back 4 or 5 years, we were barely in the top 20. Now we're in the top 5, and this is part of a whole mosaic of things that we're working on. Yes, teacher. Yes, working on early literacy. Big emphasis on American civics, which I think has been neglected for far too long. Working on technical and career education. We've expanded apprenticeships, 50 apprenticeships over the last couple years. These are jobs people are going in. Some of these guys are making $100,000 within a couple years of graduating high school if they're in these high-demand fields, and we've put our money where our mouth is. And then, so we're excited about the progress. I think we're going to have a really big legislative session here, so the next 2 months should be a lot of fun, and I know we'll get a lot of support across, hopefully, partisan lines even in both chambers for great initiatives like this early learning initiative. So, Speaker, you want to come up and say a few things?
Thank you, Governor. Yep. Appreciate it. Well, thank you, and thank you guys. You guys are so good.
Very, very good.
Yeah, you guys like those new books? Yeah, they're pretty awesome. You know, the power of getting a new book and getting a child excited about reading, excited about learning about the characters inside the pages that they're going to discover is the reason that the Florida House came out with the New Worlds Reading Initiative at the beginning of last legislative session. And what's really special about this is what the governor just said at the end of his remarks, which is Florida's doing so well. And the governor does a great job of talking about that. Our principals and our teachers in schools like this one have done such an amazing job in making sure that our children can learn to read. We're proud to be fourth in the nation in fourth grade reading and making sure that we're making those strides. But what really makes a state like Florida not just good but great is our ability to acknowledge when we can be even better. And I think that's what the New Worlds Reading Initiative is all about. When Commissioner Corcoran and the governor and I and others sat down and looked at the statistics in reading across our state, we found some alarming things. We realized that 88% of individuals who didn't graduate from high school were struggling readers in third grade. We realized that 43% of kindergartners weren't reading at proficiency when they started in elementary school. We realized that even though we're doing better than so many of our national peers, it'd be 250 years if we kept on current trends to get to where we needed to be in reading proficiency in the state of Florida. And none of us thought that was good enough, which is where you get the New Worlds Reading Initiative. It's all designed because if a child can learn to read, they can learn. If they can learn, everything becomes possible. I want to thank Representative Dana Trabolsi, who sponsored this bill, Chairman Chris Latvala in the Education, Danny Burgess in the Florida Senate, and of course our partner Wilton Simpson. But the New Worlds Reading Initiative is underway. In just a few short weeks, 80,000+ kids in the state of Florida are signed up to have a book delivered to their home every single month. And those of you who remember being a kid, who remember getting a letter in the mail, or gosh, if you got a package, it was really something. But just getting something in the mail that had your name on it, that was for you, was something that was a really big deal when you were a child. Now imagine that being that child who, we know 60% of struggling readers don't even have a book in their home. Don't even have a book in their home. But they get a package in the mail that's for them, that's a book about something they're interested in, and they get to open up this whole new world of reading and character and learning as a result of the New Worlds Reading Initiative. We're proud to be able to partner with the University of Florida's Lassinger Center, world-renowned for helping in education. But I think it's important to note, not only is this now the largest book delivery program in America, but also we're not stopping there. We realize that we have to engage parents and guardians who are living at home with these children to make sure that they're getting to spend 15 minutes a night with them to make sure they're reading on grade level. So the Lassinger Center is going to send text messages to parents, communications to those parents, to make sure they're getting the support they need to help their child learn to read, and then we're going to measure our success. What we are doing here in the state of Florida, no other state has undertaken. No other state is taking a moonshot like the New Worlds Reading Initiative and prioritizing the fact that we believe that every child has the opportunity to learn, to be successful, and to be on a pathway to prosperity. I'm proud to have been part of this. I'm proud to have worked with Governor DeSantis, who has continuously led to make sure that these children, that no child in the state is left behind, and to Commissioner Corcoran, his team, Carrie Miller, the Department of Education. I said this morning to someone, you know, we're living in sort of a perfect storm on reading in the state of Florida. Ron DeSantis is governor, Richard Corcoran is education commissioner. We had this bill come out of the Florida House, and I think we can say that we are the only state in America who is zoned in on perhaps the most important thing for a child in their life, but certainly in their educational development, and that is their opportunity to learn those books, to get excited about reading, to learn to read, and more importantly, to learn to learn. Governor, thank you for your leadership. Truly appreciate it.
Okay. All right, where's the superintendent? You want to come on up here, man? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody, and good morning to Speaker Sprouse and Commissioner Corcoran and Governor DeSantis, and welcome to Wakulla County, and more importantly, welcome to River Sink Elementary School. And I want to thank Catherine Cutchin, the principal at River Sink, for the great work she's doing here and all the effort she put into this opportunity this morning. So thank you, Catherine. Just a couple of things. We're excited about celebrating literacy, but I can assure you that every week in K-12 public education in the state of Florida is Literacy Week. And every day is Literacy Day all year long for the days that we have our students, and then we hope to push that out into an extended school year every year. I think it's important that parents understand the one thing that they can do, the most important foundational point for our students is at reading and reading on grade level, and then being able to push beyond grade level. And that requires people reading with and reading to children and taking time out every day, as you heard Speaker Sprouse say, to spend that time with their kids in meaningful exchange and meaningful time spent with their kids reading. I think if we can do a better job with that across the state, we can help a lot of our kids develop that love for reading. And you know, the biggest battle that we all have is this little thing right here. And so if we can get a book out and open a book, I think we'll do a whole lot more to help our kids rather than digital reading on cell phones and off of PCs and laptops. So I want to put a plug in and say this, that I'm proud to be a superintendent in Florida. I'm very proud of the way that my governor and my commissioner of education have handled the last 2 years and the direction that they have moved education in Florida through the pandemic. They have taken many things off the table for superintendents so that we can do our job unabated, and I'm just one that appreciates it. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
thank you. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
it. Thanks so much. Okay, and now probably like me, still reeling after the Bucks loss on Sunday. Heartbreaker. Commissioner Richard Corcoran.
I know. Can you fire some coaches, Governor? Is that like giving? Is that? Anyway, that's a rough introduction because now I'm like throwing off my whole message here just thinking about that game again. But I just want to echo what the governor said, what the superintendent said, what the speaker said. Is what the governor recognized from day one. It was in his inaugural speech. Was we've got to conquer literacy, and the consequences of not conquering it are readily available and seeable for all of us every single day. When we lose a kid in third grade, when we started digging into the stats, the chances that we lose that kid the last time we measure his success in 10th grade, 86% are still lost. And so we know it's got to come back to the beginning. And so the reading initiative, and we have Carrie Miller here, who's our expert at the department, sitting with Carrie and talking with the speaker, we realized, the science of reading has to be there. And in that science of reading, in fact, when the governor said, let's rewrite our entire education standards for ELA, one of the requirements for all of the published work, you must have the science of reading. None of this, stuff out there that's been proven to be ineffective and has cost generations of kids the ability to have that great ability to read. We're not having any of that. We're doing the science of reading. And when we look in the science of reading, what we realized is the one component that is absolutely most lost by the generations of kids that are coming up and through the system now is vocabulary. We're good at teaching decoding. So if I said to you guys and I said, okay, what does T-H-E-G spell? Every single one of you in your head said theg. Because we know how to decode. What does theg mean? It means nothing. It's a made-up word. And that's what happens when we have these young kids and they'll read these books and they could read and decode the entire word, but they have no idea what they just read. And when they don't have that, they don't have comprehension and they can't go to those next stages. And so these books have been carefully chosen working with the speaker and Lastinger and Carrie and our department. So you're going to learn words like lobster and mussels, and you're going to learn verbs and adverbs, fiercely. And then you're going to understand and know a person called Medusa. All of that is in this book. And you might not know it right now, but what you're doing is you're building your vocabulary, and while you're building it, you're learning a great message. This is a great message about don't give up, take risks. Take risks in your life, and when you take risks, you know what opens up to you? An entire ocean. an entire sea of life. And that's every single book that's delivered to these kids is going to build a vocabulary, help them with their, continue to foster great decoding, and just absolutely hammer home comprehension. And that will put us #1 in all measurements, and whatever survey, national, NAEP, whatever you want to say, we will be #1 because our kids, through this program, will be the most literate in the country. And so thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Governor, for this great work.
Okay, thank you. Well, I want to just, what's that? Okay, you guys did such a good job. I just want to say thank you. Keep up the good work. Oh, good. Well, great. You guys keep working hard in school. We support you. You're going to do great things. Just keep it up. Thanks so much. And thank you, Principal. Thank you to the teachers. We appreciate you guys for what you're doing very much, and we're really excited to see the kids being able to learn. Early this morning, thousands of Floridians woke up to news that their appointments to get treatment for COVID-19 infection were canceled by the Biden administration, which outright revoked authorization for 2 very popular monoclonal antibody treatments that the state of Florida really pioneered over the summer and that we've worked hard to make available to our residents who needed treatment. Mind you, the people that seek this treatment are overwhelmingly people that have been vaccinated, but yet they're still infected, and many of them are high risk. Now, they are relying on revoking this and pulling the rug out from under people on a single non-peer-reviewed, non-clinical study that was actually done by a consultant for a rival company to the other 2 monoclonal antibody treatments. This is not based on a clinical trial. This is not even peer-reviewed. And so this is something that they claim shouldn't be used because we have Omicron. And what we would say in Florida is we have had people use it, and we've had good results. It's not 100%. We understand that. But you also don't even know when someone goes in whether it's Omicron or still the Delta. Yes, mostly in Florida it's going to be Omicron at this point. But it's really a reckless decision to be able to take this option away from patients when we've had the sites set up, we've had this distributed to different medical groups or hospitals. And if somebody wants to try, it was very effective against the Delta. If you look at once that program went in, you saw a huge decline in hospitalizations. And we were proud to be able to fill really a void which shouldn't have existed if you had people, the higher-ups, were actually promoting early treatment, which they weren't. So we're proud of that. But even if with Omicron it's half as effective or even 25% as effective, that's better than nothing for people. And as I've said, anecdotally, we've had people that have had their symptoms resolved after doing it just in the last month of doing this. So this is wrong what they're doing. And we have many people now who are very concerned because they were going to go in and get it today or tomorrow, and now they're being told that it would be illegal for a provider to give it to them, all based off one observational, non-peer-reviewed study. And this is done, I think, in a very haphazard fashion. And you have so many problems with this administration. You look at inflation spiraling out of control, and yet they're doing things to fuel it. You look at the southern border, which has been a total disaster and continues to be to this day. You look what's happening in the gathering storm abroad, whether it's Russia, China, America's adversaries. You have huge, huge problems going on. You have ineffective COVID restrictions and mandates that are being championed in other states that are inhibiting our supply chain and contributing to economic problems. So you have all these issues that could be addressed. And so what do they choose to do with their time? They choose to pull the rug out of elderly patients, most of whom, almost all of them, have been vaccinated, and say you don't have access to this treatment. So we're going to fight back against this because this is just wrong. This is not the way, that you help people. And our view is people have a right to access these treatments, and to revoke it on this basis is just fundamentally wrong, and we're going to fight back.
What's that fighting back look like, Governor?
Well, Mike, I don't know if I'm supposed to call you Mike or some SOB. How does it work now? What's the, no, Mike, I like that better. Well, we're going to see. I mean, we're going to go, I think, first of all, we are going to expose what this actually means for people. We have patients in Florida who have gotten these treatments over the last month and have had their symptoms resolved. I mean, we see that. And again, you know, maybe you do a clinical trial and it'll show it's less effective than against Delta. That may be the case. But we have patients who have benefited. That's just a fact. And so if there's a chance to benefit, particularly for these high-risk people, when do it. So we're going to be able to let them tell their story. We also have people all of a sudden, they're getting text messages saying your treatment's canceled. And what does that mean for them? What are they supposed to do now? So you're taking away treatment, which is something that's very, very important. But then just think of the angst that adds on to somebody. They think they're going to be able to go in and do it. And first of all, these appointments are hard to get because they cut our supply in the first place. You know, they had months and months to prepare for a winter wave, and I think they tried to tell themselves that over the summer, when you have Sunbelt has their high COVID season, that it was just because they're a bunch of backwards yokels and everything like that. First of all, it's not true. We've always had higher vax rate than the nation as a whole, and you have places like Israel now that are on their 4th shot, and they are setting world records for infections. And so clearly you have to have a more holistic approach to this, and treatment's an important part. But, you know, they had months and months and months to stockpile this, and they chose not to do it. So I think part of it is, I think there's politics at play, but I think part of it is I just don't think they have enough treatments to go around. And I think they realize that, and I think it would look very bad to be able to admit that. So instead, they're saying this is revoked. You know, they don't have the same standard for things like remdesivir, which has been used in hospitals. I don't think the data on that has been very promising at all, and yet you don't see them revoking EUA on that. You don't see them revoking EUA on other things. I mean, normally, these things all went through clinical trials. Normally, you know, you would have to have some serious clinical data to do it, and they'll say, well, it's a new variant. Well, the vaccines were created for an old variant, too. So this is something that is clearly, they're going above and beyond to be able to deny access to people. And again, we just think that that's wrong. And so, yes, you're going to hear from us. This was kind of sudden. I mean, they had said different things about it, but this was a really sudden shift. And I think it caught a lot of people by surprise.
Is there a lawsuit potentially?
I don't know. We're going to look. I mean, we're going to see what you can do. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if you look at how the FDA has handled a lot of this stuff, whether there's legal cause of action or not, I think it leaves a lot of Americans kind of scratching their head with some of this. I mean, even think about our prescription drug importation program. I signed that into law in 2019. The Trump administration worked through their process. And then when Biden came in, he actually said it was good and that the FDA should go ahead with it. He said that like 6 months ago. They scheduled a call with us in like March to be able to go over Florida's plan. We could be saving tens of millions of dollars in the interim. You can't bring yourself to just go and review this earlier than that. So I think there's a lot of problem in this bureaucracy as well, and it's not serving the American people well. Even you think about some, and I don't know how effective some of these things like some of the antivirals that have been done in the meantime are. It's taken them a long time to be able to do those. And so, you know, people are in the breach here as a result, and they haven't served the public well. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Yeah, of course. Hey, thank you. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
I will let you know. Thanks.
Closer. I'll call you the closer.
Thank you. I'm going to try. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'll hang back.
Oh, good.